post-game show, and that did not go well. We were here at halftime live. Jonathan Crompton, Austin Stanley of A to Z Sports Nashville, and the Vols had a 21-17 lead at halftime after a great defensive stand at the goal line. And then it was all Georgia in the second half the entire way. Bad turnovers from Jarrett Guarantano, really bad offensive line play, nothing going on offense. Tennessee defense did a lot until they couldn't anymore, but we're here to break it down and get you guys involved. There's going to be a lot of hate on quarterback Jarrett Guarantano. Former Vols Jonathan Crompton here, former Vols quarterback Jonathan Crompton here on the postgame show, presented by BioPure Music City, changing the standard of clean. BioPure Music City right there. EPA regulated and proven to kill the coronavirus and the flu. Also, Ashbusters Chimney Service, ashbusters.net, and ashbustersknoxville.com is where to go for their services as we get closer to the winter months. Crompton, what happened, man? I mean, just in the easiest way possible, what happened? What the hell happened out there?
The easiest way to describe it?
Yeah, and that's what I.
Georgia came out and we didn't. I know the O-lines are our strength and our bread and butter, so to speak, but I mean, Cade Mays getting completely burnt by a speed rush for a sack fumble. Obviously JG's got to throw that ball away, the one he threw an interception on, throw it in the dirt, or know where your outlet is, so to speak, which is the guy over the ball in that play. But then again, that's a lot easier said than done when I'm sitting in a chair watching the game. But it's their front seven. We knew going into it. If you can't block their front four, it's really hard to block their front seven. And then that last sack fumble, their linebacker Rice, he did it all himself. They did a cross dog blitz. He beat the tailback. When you're protected, in that situation, we're supposed to be protected. And when you think you're protected and you're about to throw, next thing you know, it's touchdown there, for Georgia. That's pretty much the definition of the second half is their defense played better than our whole team. And when our defense is on the field, a majority of the second half, there's nothing we can do. I mean, we just don't have the depth. I mean, literally in the second half, or the whole game, 36-38 to 23-22 in minutes. I mean, they killed us again.
Yeah, and I was looking at the play-by-play. I was monitoring the drives there, Crompton, for like the part of the second half where the game was lost, because that last drive was the longest at 3 minutes and 3 seconds, but the game was so out of hand by that point.
Yeah.
Your longest drive in terms of time was when it was still 23-21, well within reach, 6 plays, 15 yards, and a punt after 2 minutes. The second longest drive, again, same score, 23-21, Georgia up, great opportunity, 3 plays, negative 17 yards for a minute 45.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your longest and second longest drive of the half to that point.
You can't have that.
And you had minus 2 yards. And
you can't have that. And what I was texting you, sack fumble, we held them to a field goal. Interception, we held them to a field goal. Those are wins.
Absolutely.
I hate to say it. When they're starting on our 35-yard line and we hold them to a field goal, that is a win. And we're only down by 2. That is a win. At that point, we were still well in this ball game. We just couldn't get any momentum going at all. Like I said at halftime, the first 5 minutes of the third quarter is going to be a big deal. We played atrociously in the first 5 minutes. It's called like it is.
Yeah, well, the offense did. The defense in the first 5 minutes.
Exactly. But
the defense in the first 5 minutes of that second half, and really for the majority of the third quarter, I think you have to tip your hat to them because it was just completely unbalanced of time of possession, and you could tell they were getting gashed. I mean, they were at one point. I tweeted Crompton in the second half that I thought Georgia was afraid to let Stetson Bennett throw the ball. That's how well the Vols defense was playing at a point in the third quarter.
I'm with you, but what kind of puts the whole game in a nutshell to me, or not the whole game, second half.
Yeah.
Okay, they go down, they score, they get the big freshman defensive tackle in the end zone on a little, flat route, just a little play action on the goal line. No big deal, right?
Right.
They get a 15-yard penalty. You're kicking off from the 20, and they still get a touchback.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Pretty
crazy.
I understand that you play tendencies and we do that stuff, but they're kicking off from the 20. There's no reason to line up completely on the left side of the field. Line up in the middle. Now you have more time to field this ball.
Mm-hmm.
You have more room to field this ball. Don't line up there and then let it just dribble into the – I mean, that right there could have been us staying in the ball game. You know what I mean? Because we could have had the ball close to the 45 or 50-yard line. Hey, anything happened at that point. We go back down to score. Hey, now they're like, oh, okay. They're not gonna give up. You know, because at that point we were only down 9 at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it was a game for the majority of the second half. I mean, it wasn't until early fourth quarter when Georgia scored to go up by 16 that you really didn't feel that Tennessee could do anything offensively, that it was basically over by that time. A to Z Sports here, the post-game show, Big Orange post-game show with Jonathan Crompton. I'm Austin Stanley. Here's something that I'm very curious to see how we have this conversation next, because I want to ask you guys a question. It's pretty simple. Who is to blame the most? Not just who is most to blame for the Vols loss to the Georgia Bulldogs. Final score was 44-21. Just a blank. The Vols got blanked in the second half by the Bulldogs, and a lot of unanswered points. 27 unanswered points in the second half by Georgia. Who is to blame most for the Vols loss in this game? But first, let me tell you guys about BioPure Music City. BioPure is changing the standard of clean. If you want them to come out to your home or to your office, your place of business, give them a call for a quote, 615-635-0555. Their electrostatic spray cleaning system kills 99.9% of germs on contact, leaves barely any residue. Also, you can spray directly your electronics. It's safe for your pets at home. It's EPA regulated and proven to kill the coronavirus and the flu as we get closer to flu season. BioPure Music City, 615-635-0555. BioPureService.com is where to go. Crompton, who do you think? Who is most to blame? Not because I know everybody's going to – everybody's going to be like,
I'm reading these comments. Yeah, I'm reading these comments, and here's the thing. If I really said the things that I should say, and I'm just going to call it like it is, everybody would hate me.
Yeah.
And guess what? You hear the concern in my voice, first off.
Yes.
But and this goes for everybody. I understand that that the quarterback always gets all the credit and they get all the blame. The OC gets all the credit, gets all the blame. If people really understood what football really is and what it's about, these comments would not be said the way they're being said. Which, hey, everybody, this could be. We're in a business, right? Mm-hmm. But it's funny to me because I'm going to ask some of these people. I'm going to go off and say, before I get mine, how was the quarterback the only one to blame?
Well, I guess
I'm saying that and I'm asking this. How was he most to blame on 2 sack fumbles that he didn't see a guy coming?
Well, because
I know what it feels like.
No, you absolutely.
When you don't know, and that's the whole point. Is so I agree that there is something to blame, but the most to blame overall is going to be not one individual. It's the lack of enthusiasm to start a half. It's not an individual. We came out and played piss poor from the get-go in the second half. It's not a player, in my opinion. This is an opinion.
Okay. Well, I know who that falls on. Does that not fall on Jeremy Pruitt? Because that's see, I was trying to lead somebody there, and I love that because at the end of the day, it's the CEO of a company. Is it not always the CEO's fault? Yeah, no.
Technically, whether it is or it isn't, it should be. But that's what I like about Pruitt, and that's what I like about Coach Ogeron at LSU. He takes the blame because that's how you build a winning culture. Yeah. Now, obviously, LSU's not winning right now, but what I'm getting at is, so in my opinion, the blame is going to be on Pruitt from the top down by saying, this is how we're going to play from start to finish. No matter what, we're going to play this way. So my blame goes to the head coach, not saying he didn't call a good game, but because he let his players lack the enthusiasm we needed to win.
Here's the stat that I'll tell you guys why I blame Jeremy Pruitt for this loss. 10 for 84. 10 penalties
100%.
for 84 yards. 5 of those 10 penalties, half of them were pre-snap penalties on your off. 4 of them were offensive line, false start.
Which is unacceptable.
One was defensive offsides. But 5.
And another getting a guy ejected.
Yeah, well, that's the other 5.
It's like we can't do that. You're not going to win games by having almost the length of the field in penalties.
Yes. And here's the thing that I want to say. I blame Jeremy Pruitt the most. Obviously, Jarrett Guarantano does deserve blame. He made the bad decision to throw the ball over the middle as he was getting hit. That was the easiest interception of that guy's life. He was unable to hold on to the football while absorbing hit in the pocket, regardless of if you see it coming or not. But you also have to go back and look, and this is where me and you can disagree on this. If you go back and look, when you're trying to separate the throw and you get hit, ain't a damn thing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do. But there was
literally and another. What he's doing is what you were taught to do, and your instincts to do is when you shuffle, you're going here and he's going down, and they literally. Now here's the thing. This is where coaching on both sides comes into play. Kudos to Georgia's coaches for all what you can tell when they go for the ball. They go for the low point, the tip of the ball when they're in the pocket. So that's good coaching by Georgia.
Yeah.
And so there's always got to be one wins, one loses in that situation. Unfortunately, it was us that was on the turnover side. But you got to give credit where credit's due. They went for the right spot. Now, could he have held on to it? I would hope. I don't know, obviously, because I wasn't in the situation. But when you're holding a ball and somebody comes through with the strength that these dudes have, and they physically come through with a club and hit the nose of the ball or come down on it, you'd be surprised on the manliness, strength that it takes to hold on to that ball. Lie.
So the title of this post-game show, everybody watching here, is there's two places for blame before you get to Jarrett Guarantano. So I'm putting Guarantano third in receiving if you have one of those pie charts and you have it sliced up, you have 100% of your blame. The third biggest slice of the pie is going to Jarrett Guarantano. The biggest slice of the pie, in my opinion, is going to Jeremy Pruitt, and I'll put the coaching staff underneath that as a whole. The second biggest piece of the pie is the offensive line, because look at how embarrassing this is. 27 team carries for -1 yards, and I know that the quarterback sacks impacts
which sucks, but that's part of stats though. That's the unfortunate part. So everybody gets that. So I mean.
-1 yard as a team. Eric Gray had 8 carries for 25 yards. Ty Chandler, 8 carries for 11 yards. Hyatt had that one turn, the end around for 3 yards. And Guarantano got sacked a bunch, got hit a lot. Yeah. But seriously, like this offensive line.
With the O-line we have, that shouldn't. They did not play to the standard of that we are holding the offensive line to this year at all. No questions asked. But remember, I've said this before. The positive of having a really good O-line in multiple positions is you can move guys around. The negative is you can move guys around.
Yeah.
Cade May starts at right guard. He gets first play or the second play of the second half. He gets completely toasted at right tackle.
Smoked.
So my thing with the O-line is, and I've always been this way. If you're a left tackle, you're a left tackle. If you're a right guard, you're a right guard. Obviously, if you're center, you're center. Leave them there and let them get better. I know there's advantages of having, he can play here, he can play here. For injuries, that's fine. But if there's not an injury, leave their ass where they're at.
I agree.
Like that, and I've stated that because if people knew the stuff that happened in 2008 with the O-line going back and forth when they shouldn't have because the guys were better in their original position, and we all had those conversations. If you're a left tackle, keep your rear end at left tackle and be the best left tackle because that's my spot.
And I'll say
that would be my biggest thing, because if Cade May starts at right guard, why is he playing right tackle in the second half now?
And I'll say this on the sack, fumble, return for a touchdown that Georgia had. Trey Smith didn't touch anybody. Trey Smith let a guy go by. He let a guy go by his right and by his left. And obviously there's confusion there, which is going to your point. But Trey Smith has been playing next to Brandon Kennedy as center for years. And Wanye Morris isn't exactly a brand new left tackle. He started a lot of games there last year. And this is game 3 this year. You cannot allow to have Trey Smith not touch anybody, not touch a soul, and let 2 guys right by it. You know who else was really bad too today? It's an extension of the offensive line. I thought the running backs were really bad in pass protection too.
And that's where I was going just now, was on that exact play you're talking about, the sack fumble.
Yeah.
We literally just made that linebacker Rice, on that one play, he might screw around and get player of the game, because cross dog blitz, beat the running back because he thought he was going to get hit by the lineman, Trey. He didn't. So then he just comes full speed ahead, completely demolishes our tailback, comes through, strip sack, picks it up, fumble recover, and a touchdown, all in one play, when he should have been picked up by the O-line. So our coaches aren't dumb, just like their coaches aren't dumb. That is not a matchup we want our tailbacks in with the size of our tailbacks. Now, their tailback, their true freshman, 22 mil, hey, let him have that pass protection. He's a big boy.
Yeah, he is.
Our tailbacks, that's not their forte, so we try to match him up on DBs. Not their freaking hoss of a linebacker. So that was a complete bust, and then that just solidifies the whole game where there's nothing we can do. So that's the stuff that I go to. So my blame, Pruitt's at the top because he's the head coach, but then the O-line second, like I agree with you 100%. To have the O-line we have, we should be able to run the ball. I'm not saying average 6.5 yards a carry, but we should average more than, at one point we were averaging 1.1 yards. I mean, that's atrocious for the O-line that we have, and it should happen. That's my biggest blames, is just the lack of awareness was awful today.
Yeah, okay. Manuel is yelling in all caps, so I guess we'll address it. Address why wouldn't you allow Harrison Bailey to play after they're down so much? I'll take this and see if you agree with this, Crompton.
Okay.
You don't put another quarterback in there, especially Harrison Bailey, behind an offensive line and running backs who can't protect. Like, there's no way in hell you are going to put Harrison Bailey in there, who is a true freshman with 0 spring practices, with also a lot of missed fall camp because of contact tracing and the coronavirus, and you're down by 2 touchdowns or more on the road. You don't put that guy in there to get absolutely torched behind an offensive line who can't protect. That's my answer.
Well, and it's not even just him, because if I do believe I'm correct, isn't Trout number 2 on the depth chart?
Technically, yes.
So then Harrison Bailey wouldn't be the next guy to go in.
I don't even think.
But what I'm getting at is the reason why they didn't put anybody in. That's not the situation. You're down 44-21. They know you're going to throw the ball, so you're going to let one of the best front sevens in college football just tee off on him. Right. And it's not fair. And it's not to say that it's fair to leave your starter in, but he's been seeing it all game. He's got the rhythm going into it, so it's a little better of an advantage for you than just throwing a guy completely cold off the bench with 3 minutes to go, 4 minutes to go, whatever, and say, hey, have fun.
Here's another reason why.
If you're winning, it's different, because then the other teams just screw it. But not in that situation. I don't agree with it.
Here's another reason why I think you have to leave Guarantano, and we need to grade Jarrett Guarantano, because those are going to be very interesting for us to watch and very entertaining for us to see your guys' grades for Jarrett Guarantano. But here's another reason of why I think you have to leave Guarantano in for anybody, is because guess who you need to have next week play well to beat Kentucky? You need Jarrett Guarantano. So what do? Maybe you keep him in there. You go down there, and it didn't happen, but you let him go down there and lead a touchdown drive to get some confidence back in himself, because you need that guy next week to get to 3-1 with a win over Kentucky at home.
Yeah, well, and you're 100% right on that. But as far as the confidence, he's not lacking any confidence, because at the end of the day, and I say that meaning I would say this for any player. Everybody knows when you play at that level, you instantly know if you're an O-lineman how you got beat. You're like, okay, it won't happen again, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Or I overthrew this, or I missed that cut as a tailback. So knowing that not every play was on him, or not on the O-line, or not on the running backs, they're going to be able to correct that. So the confidence isn't there. It's almost a shock feeling by going, we were up at halftime feeling really good. What the hell happened?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And another reason why you don't bring in another quarterback, first off, and when have we seen him in any action besides fall camp where, hell, half the time they couldn't practice anyway there, they even admitted. So what my question is for the Harrison Bailey question, kind of a counter question is, why do we automatically assume it's him coming in?
Well, it's because that's the easiest thing to do as a fan is to see, 5-star quarterback who's a true freshman who.
Well, what about the true freshman Maurer that played last year and played pretty well until he got his bell rung a few times, but he played pretty well when he played last year. So my question is,
because
why
you've already
is it
seen
always the next freshman?
Because he
I've always wondered that.
Well, and you were at one point a highly ranked quarterback coming out of high school, and I'm sure there's times where Ainge might have done something stupid and people are calling for you to jump in.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you that it's really funny. The backup quarterback on any team in America or in high school is always the most loved player, and it's hilarious. I think the backup quarterback and the backup kicker. It's hilarious because if the kicker misses one kick, get him out, All
right, so let's do this. Let's grade Jarrett Guarantano because we do this every halftime show. We have to do it. So every post.
Oh no, I mean it's going to be a tough grade. It's going to be tough for me to give a grade. I'm trying to think how I do it.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to grade Jarrett Guarantano's performance. But first, real quick, this Big Orange post-game show is brought to you by BioPure Music City, changing the standard of clean. Get them out to your home or your office, 615-635-0555. And also Ashbusters Chimney Service, ashbusters.net. They're your pros when it comes to sweeping and inspections of your chimney and your fireplace. Ashbusters.net is where to go. So I'll let you start, and then if you're ready, or I can read some comments.
We're good. I'm just trying because
letter grade for Jarrett Guarantano.
If we would have played close in the second half, the way we played in the first half, it would probably be an A-. But it's not because we didn't play that way. Well, so that's what I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to because it's a tale of two halves. First half, you're going.
First half,
an easy grade.
11 of 13 for 124 and 2 touchdowns. Really good.
That's what I'm saying. If we went 2 halves, but obviously we can't do that. That's that's cheating. That's cheating on my part. I'm going to have to go honestly overall. I'm just going to. People can obviously they're going to say it's a little high, but I'm going C. And the only reason why it dropped to a C is obviously not every turnover was on him. The interception, you can't do that. Just eat it. At that point, you don't even throw it to the ground. Just tuck it and take the sack, freaking punt the ball is what it is. But there's just a few times like I was saying, man, it's hard to get it out. We got to make a play when we're playing a number 3 team. We made them in the first half, hands down. We didn't have many, but we don't need many. Got to find a way to stay on the field in the second half.
Yeah.
For some way, somehow, even when it's 3rd and 13 or 3rd and 3, we've got to find a way. And obviously, who touches the ball every play? Quarterback in the center is what it is. So at that point, we've got to find a way at the quarterback position. And we didn't find that way in the second half. So that's why I'm going to C, just because obviously not everything is on every player. But, yeah, if you look at his numbers, he was still in the 66% throwing, but that's not good enough when we put it down the field. That's the whole thing that's where numbers can be skewed.
Yeah, and look, Bama Shane says, so what are you grading each half now? No, I think the C is the flat grade because if you're grading the second half,
C's the flat grade. If you grade the second half, it's going to be a D. If you grade the first half, it's going to be an A-. So I'm going with a C.
Right. I think I have to kind of I'm going C- just because the opportunity was here, right? You were leading on the road against number 3 Georgia at halftime, and you got the ball.
And we got the ball.
And you got the ball to start the second half, and what happened? Disaster struck. And then the next possession, it struck again, and then all of a sudden you're in this.
But we only gave up 6 points, so we should have still had that mindset to say we're only down 2 points.
Yes, survived when disaster struck twice.
And it was almost like that mindset wasn't there.
Yeah, so that's
for
why
everybody.
that's why I have to go C-, because you do have to give him credit for what he did in the first half. That's why Tennessee had the lead. Because he threw 2 bombs that were gorgeous to Josh Palmer, and then as Jacob Kime on Facebook has said several times in this show, I don't know if I'm maybe gonna find that specific comment. Oh, here it is. He says C+. Guarantano was making good reads and dropping dimes until the line quit. I think the offensive line, that was the biggest factor in the offense's inability to do anything. And Jarrett Guarantano was unable to. I mean, you have to remember how good Georgia's defense is too.
And that's the thing, man. Georgia, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be hard for any front seven to be as good as Georgia's front seven consistently. Now, obviously, when you're playing Alabama, you're going to have schematics from Nick Saban that are going to be just as crazy, if not crazier, than what they saw today, with how they're rotating and shifting guys and bringing guys completely from depth that you don't suspect to come. So outside of those two front sevens are phenomenal. I'm not worried about Florida's front seven at all. I'm not worried about Florida's defense.
I'm not either. Yeah, I'm not either. I think
I'm more worried about their offense and Pitts at tight end, because if I'm him, I'm saying I'm out. I'm a first-round pick now. See you.
Exactly. Jacob's
what he's done.
Right. Georgia's defense. Georgia's number 3 in the country for a reason, and I'll tell you what, it ain't that's been it. It's because of that defense. Nothing.
Well, now here's the thing. I'll go on record. Gary Danielson, I think, might be one of the worst commentators in the history of freaking sports.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the most biased individuals week in, week out. But I mean, in all honesty, I mean, he did hit the nail on the head a few times with just the fact of Georgia's strength is not their offense. Georgia's strength is, I'm just going to hang in the game and I'm going to wear you down on defense, and then I'm going to be able to score points.
Right.
I mean, look what they've done literally in all 3 games. They should never have beat Arkansas the way that they beat them, except their defense.
A to Z Sports, Big Orange post-game show here. Jonathan Crompton, former Vols quarterback, Austin Stanley of A to Z Sports. We do need to discuss, because we've talked, look, we're 27 minutes into this post-game show. We've talked a lot about the things of why Tennessee lost, whether it was coaching, the offensive line, Jarrett Guarantano, the turnovers, the lack of the run game. But I do think we need to give a lot of credit to the Tennessee defense and talk about them for a bit. So who shined brightest in your opinion, guys? Everybody watching the show wants your answers. Who shined the brightest in the Vols defense today? But first, let me tell you guys about Ashbusters Chimney Service at ashbusters.net and ashbustersknoxville.com. Sweeping, inspections, and masonry experts. Have them come out to your home before you light that fire in the fireplace as they get deeper into fall and closer to winter. Make sure your chimney is right. Make sure it's swept, it's clean, and it's not messed up, because if that chimney's messed up in your house, a lot of other things can be bad news for you. Ashbusters.net is where to go. They are the experts in the Nashville and the Knoxville area. Ashbusters.net. So, real quick, who do you think, Crompton, shined the brightest in the Vols defense today?
Toe. No, to me, there was only 2 plays that I think he wished he could have back. And if, as a defensive player, if you can say out of a whole game there's only 2 plays, that's a pretty damn good game. Because there was a few plays, man, that they're running counter or they're pulling a guard, and he literally met the pulling guard at the line of scrimmage, shrugged him off, and made the play. I mean, to be his size, that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Okay, he got beat inside on an angle route against a tailback. Well, the tailback's supposed to do that. I mean, literally. As an offensive guy, we expect that as a win when we go one-on-one with the linebacker.
That's how you drew it up, right?
Exactly, 100%. And then the one other play was when they threw the bubble late in the game. But then again, he'd been on the field for 2/3 of the game. So I understand that play just took a bad angle. Other than that, I mean, he's impressing the piss out of me. Is just a competitor, as a football IQ guy, and honestly, what we want as a Tennessee Volunteer playing football. You can tell that it means a lot to him. It really does. I think he's definitely a guy that stands out week in, week out.
Yeah, Sean says Toto is the best player, period, on the roster. I mean,
and I don't disagree with that.
Yeah,
I really don't.
I don't either. Henry T was great. William Sutton says To'o right there. Chief Franco going with Toto. Same thing with Jeffrey as well. Henry Toto is really fun to watch.
He is. But here's the thing about our defense, real quick. And this is not a slight on Banks, but we don't have the depth yet. Keyword yet. We're getting there. Banks is, I mean, he played tailback as a freshman.
Yeah, he was off the team for 9 months.
And not just taking anything away from him, because you can tell he's a phenomenal athlete and he's just a football player. But for somebody that played tailback and then was not on the team, and then now he's playing a crap load on defense, that tells you don't have a lot of depth.
Right.
And that's where it hurts us down the road in a game like this against the number 3 team when they're on the field, that we need guys. And then obviously, but having the ejection with the targeting, those things hurt. You can't do that. And then that puts more on people like Toto that have to stand out more, because now they're having to be all over the field. So we just need a little more depth, but we need more guys like him.
I agree. And Jacob says that Banks got boat race. Jeremy Banks is really good in run down situations. When you know it's a run coming, he's really good at that. Whenever he has
defense, I'm all in.
Right. Whenever Banks has to go backwards first, that's when you're worried.
Or side to side.
Yeah, exactly. And his tackling skills are not exactly strong yet. He doesn't. No, he knows how to hit.
The tight end, he's kind of got a cool name, McKitty.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just love the name. But he goes down the seam. That's a win. They just do it wasn't like it was a hard play action. Just a little flash play action right down the seam on Banks, because he's not a cover guy. He's not. And he's just, that is what we call easy pitch and catch. So we've got to get a little more depth to get people like Toto a little more rest.
For sure. Because he's having to play every snap. Like, you have to have 11 out there or you're in big trouble. I do think. Oh, yeah. I do think, again, the third quarter, the defensive performance was really impressive. The first 3 quarters, honestly. There was a couple plays here and there, like you've mentioned, with a couple misses, but they got after Stetson Bennett. They pressured him. They made it where he wasn't really comfortable at all to sit back there and throw. And then I think things changed. It was a 1st and 10 right before Georgia. It was still 23-21. I don't know if you remember this play. It was a 1st and 10, and they'd been running the ball on first down every snap, and it went nowhere. And they did a play action. They hit Burton, the freshman, on a square route for about 20 yards. Oh. That was when the ball was stripped, and the center busting his ass down the field got it. Ever since that's where Stetson Bennett and the Georgia offense got going again, and you start to saw the Tennessee defense tire out.
Well, think about it. Because later in that drive, we had the mental bust for the touchdown. Just complete mental error. By the secondary. But if you're a defensive guy and you make a play and you strip it and you're going instantly, as soon as you feel the ball strip, you're like, yes. And you can see from the back view, multiple guys are instantly do this because that's momentum back in our way. We're about to take the ball down the field and score. Right. And then all of a sudden it just lands in an offensive lineman's stomach. Complete momentum killer, complete ball game changer. And it's not one of those that you go, oh, game's over, but you instantly in the back of your head go, is it meant to be?
Yeah, it's like that. I mean?
Because why in the hell is the center down here? Kudos to him.
And he made up the
center 25 yards down the field just running. But then again, that's what a championship caliber team does.
Yep, absolutely. I'm with you there. A to Z Sports, Big Orange post-game show. Great interaction, guys. Again, not the second half any of the Vol fans wanted or that team wanted. The halftime show was great when Tennessee was up 21-17, but it went downhill real quick.
But the positive, though, we still have a chance at going into Bama week at 3-1. I mean, in all honesty, anything can happen. And I say that, look at 09. Nobody gave us a chance against Bama.
It's true.
I love these are 2 of my best friends, and I love them, the Solons twins. Nobody gave them a chance to block Terrence Cody. Well, guess what? They did. Because it matters on game day. So all I'm saying is if we go and take care of business next week, we go to Bama week 3-1, anything can happen. Nobody gave A&M a chance today. Look what happened. You know what I mean? I've cut it off, but hell, Auburn was losing to Arkansas with 40 seconds to go just now.
Well, and you know who's
anything can happen.
Yeah, and Ole Miss scores to go up 7-0 against Alabama in 54 seconds.
Man, this game might be 105 to 100. Who knows?
Lane train, baby. It's gonna get weird.
That's what I want the fans to take into next week is we still have a chance to go to Bama week 3-1. I mean, and going 3-1 into that week, we should feel really, really, really good about it.
Yeah, and again, and Kentucky's on right now, and you need Jarrett Guarantano to help you beat Kentucky. Like that.
And you do. You 100%. I don't care what anybody says. He's our best chance at giving us a chance down the stretch in the season because he's our most experienced guy. He understands how to play football in the SEC. But think about it, though. After Auburn has proven not to be what everybody thought they'd be, including myself, preseason.
Right.
A&M has proven to be shaky. We take care of business this next week. Regardless of what happens against Bama, we still got a chance to go to Florida with 1, maybe 2 losses.
Yeah, and
I'm just calling it like it is. I mean, because we're proving we're a good team. We just got to stay on the field on offense to help our defense out with the lack of depth.
And the offensive line has to be better. The offensive line cannot have a game like it did against Missouri where they just dominated their line of scrimmage and then come out and get bullied for 60 minutes like they did today.
Exactly.
And
hey, you know what? Here's the thing. When are we going to play another front seven like today?
2 weeks.
And then after that?
Auburn's not great, but then
they're not. I'm not saying they're not this.
No. It's 2 weeks, and then everything else is lighter than what you saw tonight.
Exactly. So we still have that chance to go into Florida week. I'm not worried about Florida's defense at all, personally. Now they're going to obviously get better, but right now I'm not. I mean, they're giving up a crap ton of yards and points per game.
Right, especially in December too.
Yeah, so we have a chance to take the season that we're still on track, that if we take care of business and Georgia slips up, we got a chance to still win the East. So it's not all lost. It's just a crappy Saturday night.
No doubt about that. All right, with that,
it's a crappy Saturday night.
We'll end it on the crappy Saturday night line. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your Saturday nights, and then Sunday morning, Titans fans watching, fingers crossed for no more positive tests tomorrow morning so they can practice again, and we'll see what happens on a big NFL Sunday. We'll see you guys Monday morning right here, A to Z Sports at 8 a.m. Central Time. Buck Rising will have A to Z Sports primetime Sunday night at 8 o'clock to recap whatever happened in the NFL plus the Titans news. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for interacting. Big Orange Game Day here brought to you by Music City, BioPure Music City, and AshBusters.net. We'll see you guys later. Have a good one.